I'm going to take this opportunity and to share with you how this whole WSQ production training meant for this module called the camera operation, how this can be run at the studio, at Zing Studio. Generally, there are two studios, Studio 233 and Studio 717. Now, there might be a possibility that we may have more studio if, let's say, the group size is even bigger. For example, if it hits 40, 50, or 60, there is then that also means that we will need more studio. Generally, for each studio, I will cap it at 20 packs because of social distancing policy. So in other words, if we have two studios, it just means that we can go up to 40. And so I think this will be very comfortable. So if that case, right, with 2 days of WSQ filming production training, then how are we going to execute this? So I'm going to take this opportunity to go through some of the system. Hopefully, you will stay as much as possible to what I'm going to share with you right now. Subsequently, will there be any fine-tuning and changes? I'm sure. I just hope that if that case, then we won't deviate too much with what I'm going to share with you. So in other words, likelihood this system, training system, we're going to keep it this way for camera operation for the next few months, half a year, or even a year. And then from there, we will review again. So with that, let me share a set of PowerPoint slides so that all of you will get an idea of how this can be done. I will also make a set of video that is meant for the learners, and it's meant for them to watch this video before they come in for their course. If possible, either I will give them this link the day before, or we may do a replay again on the actual day itself. It's just that the way we design, likelihood, the moment they come in at 9 a.m., the filming got to start. So this design in such a way that I will not, as a master trainer, I won't need to even have a PowerPoint slide presentation. It's because all the knowledge skills that is required for the assessment, we have already built into the whole entire training and production system into the studio sets and the use of the equipment. So with this, let me share screen. Okay. So this would be the WSQ training production program by Wisdom Academy, except that we're working closely with Zing Media production team. And the learners are aware of this. So they know that all these are not purely coming from Wisdom Academy. Wisdom Academy is just a training company with the support and partnering with Zing Media to provide such an environment for the learners to really learn effectively. As for all of you involving in this so-called training production program, there are a few objectives for all of you. So in other words, you're not just helping them to shoot, but rather there is also other so-called related company objective or agenda. And this is really up to all of you to propose to the company how we can further involve all these learners. The reason also because all these learners, they are business people, they are professionals, they are managers, they are trainers, they are in sales, or they are lifelong learners, which they have a lot of knowledge, experiences, and skills, and also their passion that they can share. And it's really up to all of us to able to see the potential of working with any of these that you see that are able to leverage on what they have and then to help us to have more content creation, and so that it also can bring in more revenue for the company. At the same time, also provide after program service. So this will be a win-win kind of situation. And there's also an opportunity for all of you to have more so-called either referral income or sponsorship or advertising commission, and also to develop your own content according to what you have already developed. So firstly, the first objective is really to help the learners to produce their very first intro video that will allow them to kickstart this video production and to create awareness for their program. And second is to invite them to our Live Life to the Fullest .tv or Zing Media affiliated products and service partners, or to provide content for both of our platform, either YouTube or Facebook, or even Instagram or TikTok. The other third objective will be for you all also to propose how we and you can partner with them so that it can become a collaboration. So like I give you an example. Riuno actually sponsor us with a filtration system. At the same time, we will produce video series to promote this product through our content creation. And if, let's say, they were to release in the social media, and if people will be interested to buy, then that's where, through our video, they will click the link, and because of that link, there'll be commission given to the company. So to us, we see that this is a form of partnership. The business model behind it, that's where the proposal, your proposal, matters a lot. And with that, it also means that you have a good knowledge of what all these WSQ learners they are involved. The next objective is whether eventually we're able to provide a corporate service with our production capabilities, resources, and services. So of course, this can range from scripting, planning, filming, and editing. Some of them may even want to leverage on our WSU course and send their company staff to even join our program after they find that this is useful, helpful, and they want to introduce to their company. So that also can be a form of referral. If you were able to so-called persuade them or convince them or propose to them, and because of your effort, they are willing to send, then in that case, that's where you also able to get a referral commission. And finally, having all of you involved is also to make sure that our equipment are in tip-top condition, so that at any point of time, when we need it for filming, whether for our client or for our in-house production, or even for WSQ, our equipment are always on a tip-top condition. If not, then that's where we need to maintain, repair, or even need to purchase. So this will be the objective. So generally, in this 2 days WSQ camera operation training and production program, I split it into total 4 sessions. So in this case, day 1, the first group or every group will report to their own set at 9 a.m. And when they reach there, they should be prepared. And that is where they will take the time, 3 hours, to start filming. Generally, there should be 1 to 3 or 4 learners wanting to use this particular set at this station to film their product. So the general itinerary or the training itinerary split it into day 1 and day 2. We have a total of 4 sessions. So day 1, there'll be session 1 and session 2. And each session is 3 hours of production. The first session will start at 9 and at 12. And then we will have a lunch, 1 hour and 15 minutes. So if you notice that I actually do not have a break, so I add this 15 minutes to the lunch. So instead of 1 hour, you have 1 hour and 15 minutes. And why do we start at 12? It's because at Link at AMK, 12 at lunch, the crowd at the canteen is still not so crowded. And that would be a good chance of the queue being short. And then they will have able to eat. And that's to beat the crowd so that they have more time for themselves and rest. In session 2, they'll come back at 1:15, and that's where we'll start. In this case, they will be proceeding to set 2 or station 2. And then from there, they will do your filming. And then there will be a break. This break will be 4:15 to 4:30. So there will be a 15-minute break. And then after the break, there'll be a debrief, 4:30 to 6 p.m. And likewise, day 2. And during this debrief, there'll be a revision, answer their question, respond, and also take the opportunity to transfer the footages to them. They are required to use our laptop and to do the transfer themselves. We will try not to do this for them. So let them have access to our laptop and then to advise them. It may be a little difficult, but we see how we can fine-tune this process. Also, just to take note that we only want them to copy only the last take of every scene or every set. That is to save the transferring time. If they're going to copy over all the takes, then it'll be too long. And not only that, they may not really need all the takes. So let's make it easier for everybody, and it will be a faster transfer. And for day 2, they will proceed to set 3 as the third session. And that's where they also will start filming again with a different set. And then session 4, again, they will proceed to set 4. Now, there will be set 1, 2, 3, 4. And what are these 4? That's where later on I'll be sharing for all of you. Now, likelihood, everyone then, they only just require 1 set for their former so-called filming. I'll explain to you all later on. So with that, let me proceed. So in this case, we have 4 stations. So the first station is at Studio 233, where we have gray, blue, and brown set. So this is the gray set, this is the blue set, this is the brown set. So in this case, generally, I'll be in charge of this together with one. In this case, it can be with any one of you. And in this case, we have all this equipment, tripod, fluid head, and there is a dolly. The dolly only meant for gray set. In this case, my emphasis, there'll be a 6-step in camera setup. That's where we will go through the ISO or gain, shutter speed, f-stop, white balance, resolution, and frame rate. So that's where we can go through this, especially the first round, so that they have a good experience with the camera. And also take this opportunity to go through framing and the rules of that. So during the framing, they will learn about over the shoulder, 2-shot or wide shot, mid shot, and there will be dolly and sliding shots. And also the application of rule of thirds, especially the eyes, need to be on the intersection of the lines. So this is something that we need to be very stringent about so that they understand the application. There is also an application of symmetry. So place, especially its point of view, or they're looking at the camera, they'll be placed at the center. But nevertheless, their eyes still need to be on the rule of thirds. So this is where, if we were to go through this with them, then they will understand and they are applying the skill set. And in this set, there'll be a safety check. And that's where we'll talk about tripod height, where they need two person to help to adjust the height to avoid injury. The safety check also check for camera that is overheating. If there's such an issue, they need to report. And cable management, after all the setup, they have to make sure that the cable on the floor will be either wrapped up, hidden, or you need to be aware to avoid tripping. In this set, there will be 4 5D Mark III cameras with an ADD on the slider. So this is where they have experience with DSLR. The lenses, this will be some of these lenses they'll be using, so that they have this different experience of lenses relating to the framing. So this is where, as a trainer, we can highlight to them in this whole process, so that once they get the experience, then they will be able to internalize. So this is station 1. Now station 2 is at Studio 233, which we have the orange, we have the yellow, and we have the white set. So at this point of time, this one I assigned to Cheng San and Annie. So with this, we have tripod fluid head again. Now, why I place tripod and fluid head over here and also in station 1 is because they will be tested on this knowledge. So they have to explain the difference between tripod and the fluid head. And they also, in this station, they'll be tested on this 6-step, framing rules of third. Now, in this particular set, focus on is mid shot, wide shot, close-up shot, and extreme close-up shot and sliding. So it's slightly different from station 1, especially the extreme close-up shot. It's also because of the lenses that we are using. That's where you need a lens 70-200. The HPX camera is also able to go really close up. And this is something that the gray set or the station 1 would never able to do it because of the lens. The rest of the safety check is still the same. So trainers do emphasize in this area so that they will know how to respond during the assessment. In this station 2, there'll be 5D Mark IV, ADD, and HPX. And there's actually a top angle mini cam. And then of course with all these lenses. So expose to them so that they are familiar with this. Station 3, that's where you have Studio 717. And that's where you have the live set and the grid set. In this case, we have Tommy and Christy to oversee this area. Again, in this set, there's tripod and fluid head. And of course, the 6-step framing, rules of third. Now, in this case, there are 4 FS700, right? And with that, there's the opportunity of OTS if they are doing an interview. And there will be a mid shot and a wide shot. So mid shot and wide shot, these two cameras, they'll be right at the center. There's also a POV, right? In fact, the mid shot will be a POV. We will want the learners to look into the mid shot camera. The mid shot camera will also have the best audio quality that is being fed from the audio system in the control room. As usual, all the safety check. This is slightly different. It's meant for live production and live streaming. Now, if let's say there is no learners having this, that means they are not doing live production or live streaming, but if there are time, that means you still have 1 hour, 2 hours, or even 3 hours. So do encourage them to use this and then to do a live production or even live streaming. They may be curious to find out. Now, if you have no idea what they want to share, then we'll prepare a slide of related wisdom sharing. And then you can interview them and over here they'll be able to share about their wisdom. In this set, of course, there are 4 FS700 and the URSA. The URSA will be used for green screen filming. because the Ursa can shoot at 422 codec, and 422 format is very good for chroma key. So this is what you can do for the learners. Station 4, the student will be stationed at Studio 717 at the lobby. So as shown in this picture. But they don't really have a specific set. In fact, they are roving. They'll be shooting behind the scene instead. They may be able to use to shoot the learner's presentation for as B-rolls. That's fine. So that's where the trainers, in this case Helmi, will look into the opportunity. If not, then really take some behind the scene shots so that can film the student in action. And this is something that they can keep for themselves. For us, of course, we can use it for our promotion later on or the testimonial video production. And we have all this to show them in action. So make sure that every learner are being involved in this behind the scene filming and not just shooting. And you should be shooting the learners filming, not presenting. Presenting, we have the actual footage, so it's not a problem. But actually, is to film the learners filming, whether they're doing. So of course, you can film them playing different roles, either directing, camera operation, editing, lighting, sound, etc., etc. But this group, they are very special in the sense that they are dealing with, for example, jib crane gimbal, electronic slider, and handphone gimbal. Handphone gimbal, we have 4 or maybe even more. So this allows them to use their handphone with the gimbal to do their own filming. We have an electronic slider, that's why we'll be more professional and to expose to them. And so that they can see the contrast, the difference between the handphone gimbal and the other gimbal and the slider. And that's for them to really experience. In this case, they'll be filming, like for example, over the hip point of view, OTS. Of course, in this case, they'll still be applying the framing principle, rules of third, leading lines, and symmetry. Take note that all this actually will be tested during the oral questioning. And then in terms of safety check, there'll be tripod height, camera heat, spotter especially. The tripod height has to do with the slider, but the spotter will be something very different from the other station. So only there you have the spotter, especially if they are doing tracking shot and they need to walk backwards in order to follow the subject. Then they really need a spotter. This for safety purpose. And in this case, this station is using GH4, GH5 with the special equipment. We call it special equipment. So use these terms, special equipment, because all these terms will be used during the oral questioning. And X1000, UX90, and AC90. AC90 is actually with the jib crane. X1000, UX90, not really. But I put it together with GH4 and GH5 because they are under the family of Panasonic cameras. So that would be more the reason that I put this together. So this will be the 4th station, station number 4. So this is just to show you a sample of how the grouping can be done. So generally, our group all the learners into 4 groups, simply because we got 4 stations. And during the first station, each group will report to only one station itself. And then every session, they will rotate. So in other words, if I'm using this group, station, so this group 1, the first station will be station 1. And then the second session in the afternoon, day 1, will be station 3. And then when it comes to day 2 session, morning session, they'll report to station 2. And then from there, the second day, afternoon session, they'll report to station 4. So basically, they will follow this sequence. And that's where I already said here. Station 1 is the gray, blue, brown set. Station 2 is orange, yellow, white set. Station 3 is live or green set. Station 4 is the lobby set or the roving set. So this would be the way of rotation. I kept it to 8 because that would be the maximum that we can go. And then plus 2 of our staff, then there will be 10. And 10 is actually the filming requirement in terms of the group. In other words, for any production, we'll keep it to 1 unit with 10. Of course, if 8 per group, then it means that we have max. Sometimes we may not max up all this. So sometimes it could be a few learners only. So it really depends on our sign-up rate. But my point is that this will be the maximum that we can do with our 2 studio. If anything more than that, likelihood we will need a 3rd studio. Then that will mean that we will have a happy problem. So I hope that you understand where this grouping comes from and it makes sense to you. As a trainer, you co-trainer, that's where you need to be aware. Trainer means that actually it means that you are ACTA certified. So in this case, myself and Ching San, we are ACTA certified. Then the rest of you are our co-trainers or as assisting trainer. So basically you are following our instruction and to support us. So that's what you are doing here. I arranged it in such a way so that within the same day, they will still either have a chance to come across either myself or Ching San because we are ACTA trainer. So in terms of attendance taking, if you notice, I've already assigned each of the station with a laptop. So here you notice there's a laptop here. These 2 laptops will be meant, one for the lobby set, the other one is meant for the live set. So use this for attendance taking. And over here, I have another laptop here. This is in the white set. So, this is in the gray set, gray and blue set. So we can use all this to take attendance. What I'll do is that there'll be a SSG URL link to be sent to in our Telegram group chat. Through the Telegram, access the link and then open up using a laptop. It will review a QR code and let the student use their handphone, use their camera QR code scanner, and then to scan this QR code and to take attendance. By then, they should be able to do that. There may be 1 or 2 students still not sure how to use the camera app. So that's where we need your help and then to help them to able to use their handphone to take attendance. So in order to standardize all the training, despite using at different station and using different equipment, especially their multicam, I have actually pasted a poster with all the filming protocol. And this is where, at this point of time, I came up with these 15 steps. So these 15 steps was also ensure safety, social distancing, and also to make sure that they are prepared for the assessment. And every of these steps is to ensure that we have gone through with them hands-on. And if they're not sure, they can refer, everyone will refer, so it's very transparent. So whoever is running the director, the one that played the role of a director, will have to follow these steps. Or the producer got to follow these steps. So for each session and every take, that's where we'll follow through this. Firstly, the producer will check hand sanitization. Now for this, right, I would say that each session, only once hand sanitization right from the beginning of each session will be sufficient. But if we think not, if you want, then every time there's a change of the producer, then maybe 1 round of hand sanitization. If not, my requirement or our requirement for this one session to have 1 hand sanitization. And then after that, provide a safety check. So this safety check is to check for the cables, tripod, or cameras. This safety check also can check in terms of also their temperature. And then after that is to ensure that the lens are clean. So it's very important that at this stage, the checking of the cable, tripod, right, and cameras, it should be done for every take already. Even the lens, or at least for every so-called every learner. I suppose that from step 1 to step 4, you just need to do it once per producer. Then from here, right, the DOP or the camera assistant will need to do a check. In this case, they will check for this 6 camera setting. The resolution, so just go through the motion. Resolution 1080. So make sure they go and check that it's 1080, so that they know where is the 1080. If everyone has done it, then good. And then check the frame rate, and then check for the shutter speed, ISO or gain, f-stop, and white balance. So make sure that they know where to find all this in any of the cameras. And after that, the DOP and the CA will also do a check again, indicates framing. So make sure that there is a variety in terms of mid shot, wide shot, two shot, close-up shot, or extreme close-up shot, and rule of third check. Then from there, the live editor will do a check. So that's where the live editor will check whether there's an audio, make sure that there's audio. And then the editor will also check whether through the multi-viewer monitor, that there are different framing and everyone is following the rule of third. Now, if halfway through the filming, the rule of third is not followed, likelihood, everyone need to know that you need to have a retake. If not, right, that take is not usable. So you'll be very bad. And then the live editor also need to check for focus and make sure that all are focused. If not, they have to inform the DOP and the CA. Now, once all this done, that's where the director and the assistant director will do the check. And that's where they will say silent on set. Now, when this is announced, and make sure that no one's in the toilet, no one's eating, no one is making any noise. Now, there might be a situation where there's another group, maybe also be running. Now, in this case, all of them need to stay silent. So in other words, right, for example, in Studio 223, there are two groups, one in the white set, one in the brown set. Now, they may still have some noise if they are loud enough. So in this situation, these two also got to coordinate and also need to cooperate. In other words, this silent on set may not be just for your own group. It also will affect the other, and the other will also need to cooperate. So there'll be a lot of coordination need to be done in this aspect. So I wait for you, wait for me. And then while we're preparing, we also need to be not too loud to affect the other. Although as much as possible, at 233, we try to make sure that there's one, if one is using the orange set, then the other group will be using the brown set. Now, what if there is an orange set and the gray set? Wow, they're just next to each other. So that's where everyone need to take turns. So this one may need really some form of coordination. And then once silent on set is announced, then that's where the director will announce camera rolling. So that's where the CA will announce. After pressing the record button, then you announce cam 1 rolling. Then the second camera, cam 2 rolling. That's after they press the record button. And then the cam 3 will announce cam 3 rolling. Now, if there's an audio file recording, or if there's an audio recording using F6, H4, or in other words, any audio recording that's going to be done separately, then the sound recordists also need to announce the audio file name. Audio Zoom 0001 or 0022. And all this will be recorded in. And then with that, the clapper boy or clapper girl with their handphone clapperboard, place the clapper or the handphone in front of the eyes of the character, and then announce. For example, scene 1, take 1. Sometimes it could be scene 1, shot 2, shot 3, take 1, action, take 1, then clap, either paw or pa. So whichever depends on the type of mobile app that they're using. And once this is done, the clapper boy or girl will walk away. Now take note again, the phone need to be there while they actually clap. Some of them actually took the handphone away then clap. And that's wrong. So the clapper need to be placed in front of the eyes, and then from there, clap. After the clap, then they can walk away with the phone. Now, once this is done, that's where the director take a second look again to make sure that there's no sound or anything, then action. So this is where all the CA will start to pan, tilt, slide, dolly, or tracking. And in this situation, I may also be coordinating with station or the lobby or the one that they are using the gimbal might be possible. Now, once the act is over, hold on for another 1-2 seconds. Make sure that the presenter continue to get into the role, look at the camera, smile. After 2 seconds, then the director will announce cut. Now, once stop, everyone stop recording, then that's where the director, DOP, editor, and even the camera operator is going to check their footage. So they'll review their footage as the last step to make sure that their own shots are focused, the framing is acceptable, and the audio recording is there to make sure it's there. So this will be the 15-step protocol for filming. And if you keep on doing this, by the time, right, wow, they will be internalizing this whole protocol, and then they'll be very, very good. And because we also be testing them with all these shots. For live editing, we also have placed this set, and we actually either paste it on the wall or on the table next to the editor. And in this case, this is our editing guidelines. So do inform every of the student or every of the learner that's doing editing. So in other words, right, they should change the angle every 3 to 5 seconds. The angle shouldn't be there for too long. Some stay there even for 10, 20 seconds. It shouldn't be the case. So it should be changing every 3 to 5 seconds. Also bear that in mind, then exactly 3, 5, or 4, or even 6 seconds is to change at the end of each sentence or when they are pausing. So when there's a pause, there's a time to change. Or you know that that's the end of the sentence, then change. Change to action where possible. So do take note again, because if each shot or each angle is hold too long, sometimes it may not be appropriate. And then edit, right, may not be usable. And the other guideline also change to a person who is talking. So if the person is talking, then cut to the person. Especially this with OTS, over the shoulder. You also can change to a person who is reacting. For example, the person who is listening is nodding or is agreeing. Then you also can change. But in this reaction, you cannot hold for too long. After the reaction, he may be staring. So you need to come back to the person who is talking. But reaction are good. I also take note that in the beginning, you should start with point of view, which is the mid shot where the person look into the camera, or wide shot, or two shot. So you should start the filming or the editing with a point of view mid shot, looking into camera, or the wide shot, or two shot. And then when it comes to the end of the video, towards the end, then should end also with the point of view, two shot or wide shot. So it shouldn't be ending with side shot. It shouldn't be ending with close-up shot. So this will be the basic guideline in terms of the live editing. Then in that case, that particular edit will be usable. Next, this also we came up with the learner's checklist. So each of them will have one copy, and you will follow them. And how is this going to be used? Firstly, on the front page, we have this video production role and skill checklist part 1. So the part 1 basically are all the roles. In other words, right, every time they play a role, what happens is that what they can do is they can tick. So in other words, they may tick both or more, sometimes maybe even more. And then they'll put the name of the set, whether is it gray set, yellow set, blue set, orange set, and then even the camera they're operating, whether is it FS700, whether is it DSLR, or that at least they're aware of the camera they're using. And then it will be followed by, you can't really see from here, right? It followed by the signature of the producer. So the producer will sign after the shoot. So every one of you is expected to play all this role at least once. So there are ample opportunity for everybody to do it. So this is where we're going to check. And we're going to tell them everyone got to play a role at least once. They can play it twice. So the 4 station will provide them with ample opportunity to do that. Okay, so do give them an opportunity to play all this role. And then finally, the learner will have to sign. The trainer also will sign. And after that, we will submit to assessor. Then this form checklist will also be submitted to assessor as a proof of participation. And then the assessor will also sign this document. So this is part 1, which has covered the role and the job task. And then part 2 is where they also record what they have learned. So in this case, they will learn about the ISO, right? So they have to record one particular set. So this one up to them, and then from there they can tick. That means that for that particular camera, that set of camera, what is the ISO or the gain? So in this case, we based on ISO. It's not in gain. So we have to explain to them all these numbers are ISO, but there's also gain. So again, they need to be aware. The gain, especially for the HPX. The rest are actually all using ISO. Even FS700, we actually tune it based on ISO. So in other words, right, they have to put a tick, and then after that, they have to name at least one of the camera, and then get the producer to sign. So as long they acknowledge any of this and then sign, that it shows that they have learned something in terms of the ISO, shutter speed, f-stop, white balance, frame rate, resolution, so that they know what they are learning. So this actually basically reinforce what they're doing without just knowing that, oh, I'm operating a camera, but what am I operating about, or am I operating with? They have no idea. Then from there, you have camera position, frame shot. So these are the 3 that they also need to know. And then from there, they put a tick, and then they have to name the set and the camera that actually has this over the shoulder or point of view or over the hip shot. So they have to identify. And from there, the producer will sign. Now over here, there might be a possibility of more than one producer signature. There might be. Okay. From here, picture composition with the rules of that, there will be mid shot, wide shot, 2 shot, slide shot, POV. So they have to take all this, and then from there, I'll put a name. So the space is a little bit small, so you'll be a bit messy, but that's fine. As long as they have some kind of recording, it proves that we have raised the awareness, and that becomes their knowledge. So there's application of rule of third in any of these shots. And how about symmetry? So that's where they can also apply this symmetry, picture composition symmetry, into any of the shot, and then tick, and then name the set and the camera. Producer will sign. Picture composition, leading lines. Now, leading lines you can't really find in other station except station 4. So because this one are dealing with a much bigger environment, so there could be leading lines. This a little maybe not so easy. That one I'll leave it to the trainer, in this case Helmi, to find opportunity to let them practice their leading lines. So why are all this listed here? Because all this, they'll be questioned during the assessment. So do emphasize to them that during the assessment, they'll be questioned with all this information, and they have to know what they are. And they have to take this opportunity and try with the camera and fill up this form. And as usual, this one will be signed by the learner themselves, the trainer, and finally the assessor, when this is handed over to the assessor. So this will be, this is a single sheet with 2 pages of printing checklist. And you already place it in your station. So each learner will have one set. So again, it's a reminder to learner. I will also remind the learner through the video. And that one, right, they will have to upload their confirmed script in the Best View app. We will inform them, don't come to the studio and upload. Having said that, I think there'll be some of them will still do that because they may not know how. Although we have taught them during planning, but some of them may not be able to figure out. But we inform them, if you do this too late, you'll take up more time in here and there. So we will inform them that we can't really wait for them. So hopefully they will get to cooperate. And we also advise do not upload unnecessary word or text to Best View app. So that means only the dialogue of the script. We also advise them to speak at home until they are very fluent. Place the teleprompter handphone a distance of 1.5 to 2 meters away from them, and then they practice. Make sure that at that distance, you are still able to see the handphone. If not, they have to adjust the font size to make it bigger. And they also have to adjust the speed so that it is enough, fast enough, slow enough for them to able to deliver fluently. And of course, with that, then practice, that's where they can give their best performance at the studio. We also hope that through that, their video footage will look good. We also will be advising them to bring the external hard disk, if not laptop, for footage transfer. We'll inform them that the thumb drive, if they were to bring, it will have a very slow transfer rate. Some of them may be using Mac, and our experience is those who use Mac, when they bring the external hard drive, it can't work with our Windows laptop. So in other words, in this case, they really have to format it as a FAT32. But if their drive is larger than 2 TB, and if they plan to store files larger than 4 GB, then they have to use EXFAT instead. We also inform them to bring the props, especially those looks like they don't need props, but we still encourage. If not, they can use our props at our studio. And then we can swap if we need to, mix and match. We'll inform them to bring their wardrobe separately from the one they are wearing for filming. So for us, we'll advise all of them to wear pants, jeans with covered shoes. So this is for safety reason, so that their feet will not be hurt. Pants, of course, so that there's some protection with their legs, especially scratches. For ladies, of course, it's more of the convenience and I don't want them to be exposed. If anyone driving, then we'll advise them to park at the basement park or at the ground level, but not to park outside the studio. The reason is because outside the studio, Station 4 may need it for their practice. Station 4 may need it for their practice. In terms of the gimbal, in terms of the slider, etc., etc. Okay, so that would be actually the end of the training program with all this in mind. And if let's say you still don't quite able to follow what to do, then that's where we can have a Zoom session to clarify before the training starts. And it's important for everybody to know exactly what you need to do from 9 a.m. onwards. So if let's say your set, the cameras and all the setup is not ready, do come half an hour earlier to do a quick setup, boot up, power up, and check to make sure that the video, the connection, especially the SDI and HDMI connection with the video editor are working, or the SD cards are being inserted in every camera, and then the audio are working, the microphone are working, and then in that case, right, you'll be good to go with this. Of course, our I'll be coming out with an intro video for the learners. And that, if that case, right, will save you the trouble of trying to explain to them. And from there, I also were able to standardize all the introduction with all the groups. So with that, thank you very much.